It's in our newsletter too, in case you missed that. Okay. So once again, welcome. Thank you, Taylor. That hit just the right place. Our opening words are by Kimberly Ann Tomchek Carlson. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there is a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. Through your struggles, someone nurtured you into being, instilling a belief in a shared purpose, a common yet precious resource that belongs to all of us when we share. And so you began seeking a beloved community, a people that does not put fences around love, a community that holds its arms open to the possibilities of love, a heart home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. Welcome home. Welcome to worship. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing to the Blessed Spirit of Life, hymn 86 in your gray hymnals, and as shown on the screens. The flaming chalice is a symbol of the Unitarian Universalism. Each Sunday we gather, we bring this symbol to life. Its flame illuminates this moment, calling our attention to the path of hope and justice. Please join me in speaking the words in your order of service and on the screens as we light the chalice, the symbol of our faith. Let us open our eyes to see what is beautiful. Let us open our minds to learn what is true. Let us open our hearts to love one another. We gather around the chalice to share stories and wisdom, knowing we live in a world that is both beautiful and hurting. Each week, when we gather, we take time to honor the sorrows and celebrations of our own lives. I'll read aloud the joys and sorrows submitted earlier as Connie lights the candles on our altar near our chalice flame. We first light a candle in honor of those who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, binary, queer, asexual, intersex, or two-spirit, and if I forgot any, them too. As we mark this National Coming Out Day, that we all may have the strength to claim our experiences, the safe and sacred space to be fully ourselves, imperfect, vulnerable, and in process, and the courage to embrace our power. May we create a society rooted in love, grounded in justice, and strengthened by difference. We also light a candle for Ukraine to show our unfailing support for peace in their region. Working for a more harmonious, just, and merciful world requires an active commitment to the fullness of life and our neighbors around the world, no matter where they are. We know, too, that the details of our daily lives are sacred and important. We now light a candle for all the simple joys that are sustaining us. And we light another candle to honor the sorrows and the hardships we might be carrying. More candle in honor of the joys and sorrows we carry in our hearts that may have not been spoken aloud. With these candles of compassion illuminating this moment, I invite you to take a few unhurried breaths, to relax your shoulders and soften your gaze or close your eyes as we enter into a time of shared silence. We offer these words of prayer and contemplation adapted from Katie Kandarian Morris. O presence of many names, the personal and mysterious, we have come to a quiet time, an interior place, a place for the deepening of spirit, the enrichment of soul. Let us have the courage to sit in the unknowing, to look for the answers, and even if they are, to sit with our own questions, to be willing to be authentic with ourselves, to be ready to bring our faiths to the world. Let us be willing to know others by welcoming their genuine features, by welcoming them into the world, by appreciating the beauty that comes from seeing wholeness and truth. Let us sit in that quiet depth. May it be so. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together, Break Not the Circle, hymn 323 in your gray hymnals, and as shown on the screens. We ask Taylor to play the hymn through once to help us become familiar with the melody. We will now give and receive our morning offering. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Native Ways Federation. The mission of the Native Way Federation is threefold. One, strengthen the circle of giving by uniting Native organizations to raise awareness and support for the communities that they serve. Number two, better serve Native communities by becoming more effective Native nonprofit organizations. And number three, ensure that nonprofit organizations working on behalf of Native communities observe the highest levels of ethical standards and fiscal responsibility. Native Ways Federation is dedicated to uplifting, supporting, and advocating for the Native nonprofit sector. We are strengthening a circle of giving through our work promoting more equitable philanthropy in support of Native-led solutions. You may contribute by putting cash or a check made out to UUFN in the offering basket on the memo line in the basket. Or you may contribute by getting out your phone and going to our website, uunorthfield.org, clicking on the yellow donate button on the right-hand column, and then selecting Share the Plate. As always, thank you for what you are able to give. We first observed National Coming Out Day in October 11th, 1988. On the anniversary of the National March on Washington for Lesbian and Gay Rights, as a reminder that one of our most basic tools is the power of coming out. To those who have come out, as well as those who have not yet taken this leap, the predominant message must be, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. You are perfect just the way you are. In a world that seems to be riddled with judgment and hate, it is imperative that we strive to make sure that each of us can live our truth in a world that is more just and more inclusive and more equal than the one that we live in now. I'm delighted to introduce our guest speaker today in honor of National Coming Out Day, which is actually Tuesday, the 11th. Mrs. Moxie is Northfield's resident and has become well-known locally as a drag entertainer. She's made numerous local appearances and has been written up in the Northfield News a number of times. She also hosts an Instagram series called Hot Seat with Moxie, where she interviews people about life, sexuality, religion, and probably whatever comes up. Some of you may have seen her and some of her friends last night at the Gospel Drag Show presented by UCC. I wasn't able to attend, but I'm sure that was a wild and wonderful show. Help me welcome Mrs. Moxie to share her story.
You were probably expecting a wig and a sequins gown, weren't you? Okay. Why can't I? Now it's changed. Okay. So I can't see, my phone's not working. But my name is, oh, perfect. Okay, we can look up there. My name is Mrs. Moxie, but my boy name is actually Craig. I moved here a little bit over a year ago, about a year and a half, and I can't get over how much this community has embraced me, along with my husband. I'm very emotional today, haven't slept in a week. So give me time, I might cry, just an FYI. I'll just get this ready. Me and my husband have been nothing but welcomed in this community. And with last night, just because you did mention the show, we did get a lot of hate, actually. We had protesters, and we had people saying some very horrible things, along with messaging me and Pastor Cindy over at the UCC. So it was a very emotional week this week, but thank you for making this into a positive to let me come and speak here. So backstory, I grew up in a very small town of Fergus Falls, Minnesota. I'm the firstborn son to my mom, Lori. She's actually in the crowd tonight, or today, sorry. What time is it? But I have my mom here and my grandmother, along with my two best friends, Lexi and Katie, who actually were at the show last night too. So it's an honor to have them here. I came out at age 20. I was going into, I think it was my second year of college. I officially came out to my family, and me and my mom had a very long conversation. It was a very loving and supportive conversation. And as you talk about my Instagram series, I actually did an interview with her about coming out. And part of my presentation today is actually some clips from that. So we'll get to that eventually, but it's a very emotional thing to come out. And I think anybody who comes out, whether that's gay, drag queen, lesbian, anything, being honest with yourself is the most important thing. So if we continue this slide, we will go forward and we'll discuss. That was a cue. So part of my drag persona, as you can see in this photo, is being a country girl. I grew up in the country. I had horses, chickens. I showed rabbits at the county fair. Kind of your typical Midwestern kid growing up on a farm. My mom lived in the city. My parents were divorced. So my parents split when I was 7. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mom. 7? 6. Oh, sorry, 6. And I have a younger brother named Steven, who we're complete 180s, but he still loves me and he loves Ryan. He has 2 little boys that are our nephews, and we love them dearly. But when I decided to do drag, which we'll get to that, but I decided to embrace who I was as a kid, which was a country kid. So if we go to the next slide. This is the interview process that I did with my mom. So if you go over to my Instagram series, which you can find me as Mrs. Moxie on Instagram. I also post local things. So if you're interested in seeing more of me and being part of this movement, I guess, because my goal is to make Northfield more welcoming, more accepting, and to continue to show love, kindness, passion, empathy. You can go over there and watch me there. But I'd like to take a moment to show some clips of me and my mom from that interview about coming out. Go back to the other one. And then if you go down to the bottom of the picture, yep, there you go. Did you have any idea when I was growing up if I was gay?
You know, at the time, maybe not so much, but looking back, definitely there are signs. And once you were in high school, definitely the signs became more obvious, and you and I had a lot of talks. So
Yeah,
started
we had a lot of one-on-ones.
Yeah, a lot of figuring it out then.
I mean, you're a single mom, so we got to spend a lot of quality time together.
Yeah.
You, me, and Steve. So
Yeah.
it was a good time. Me coming out, how did you handle that? Because I came out before I went to college, but I officially came out to the world after my first year of college.
On your 20th birthday.
It was on my 20th birthday.
Your golden birthday. Yep,
Yep.
I remember that.
And
But
I
knew-
came out to my dad on my birthday.
Yeah, and your grandparents.
Yep.
Yep. That was a tough day, but that was your gift to yourself.
Yep, and I told myself that.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time thinking about that and leading up to that. But I knew before that. I remember.
Because we talked about it.
Yeah. I remember you coming home from high school and standing in the kitchen with tears streaming down your cheeks. And I remember you asking me, Mom, am I gay? They make fun of me in school. Am I gay, Mom? And that was hard. But I remember it like it was yesterday. And I hope this is the way you remember it. But I remember looking at you and saying, I don't think so. But if you are,
So
doesn't
what?
change who you are. You're a great kid, and I'm not
Yep.
going to love you any different. It was really hard for your dad. And
I was
that
just-
made it really hard for you.
I was his firstborn. I was his first son.
Yep. And
Technically, I was named after him.
yeah, because your name is the reverse of your dad.
Yep.
But, you know, we live in Midwest Minnesota, and we're...
His line of work did not help.
No, your dad was a truck driver and owned a trucking company, and just a different world that we lived in. And your dad and Mary are very proud of you. We all are. We all are very proud of you. And I'm so thankful that we can all be together when you guys
Right.
come home and hang out and spend time together.
It's normal.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
And it took a lot of years of self-doubt and hate, but it turned into love and passion and caring for me and
You went through a
Ryan.
pretty dark time when you went off to college.
Yep.
A lot of sleepless nights for your mom and your grandparents, and
Sorry about that.
well, there was days I wasn't sure I'd get to talk to you again. And that is one of the things that I think is so important for parents to know, is that you gotta love your kids no matter what.
So that interview was probably 10, 12 minutes, so I condensed it quite a bit. And actually, there's a part 2 where I actually got in drag and interviewed my mom as a drag queen. So I did not bring a clip of that, but if you go and look at it, you can see what it was like coming out as a drag queen to your family. So that photo right there, though, that is my mom and all of her friends and my aunts. They are the biggest cheerleaders I have, not to mention everybody else that I've come across in this community. I have so much support, and it it's just crazy to see what owning yourself really is about, and really being free. And once you're free and you can accept all that, life is endless. Mom, stop crying because you're going to make me cry. So my coming out story was a lot of that. And with being who I am as Craig, it was very hard. And being the firstborn son, God, sorry. Being the firstborn son to a man that didn't understand. It was very hard. But through perseverance, to have a mom, my mom, I wouldn't be here today. I am 2 years sober. When I became sober, I learned a lot about myself. I finally started living a full life, a spiritual life. I found, so a backstory is, I actually used to teach Sunday school at a Lutheran church growing up. And I thought I was part of a community. And when I came out, I didn't feel that anymore. And when that happened, I walked away from faith and I went down a very, very dark hole where I didn't think I was going to come back. But I did. And it continues to get better every day. So living a true, authentic life is the biggest thing you can do in the world. And it's a process. I still struggle with my dad. They are supportive. They know Ryan. They're part of our lives, but it's okay when you have negativity and you have to stop. And that's where I'm at right now. And making sure you put yourself first is the most important thing. If someone doesn't believe in you, maybe it's time to cut ties. And with faith, I say faith loosely because it's a very different thing for everybody. But having faith in a community, having faith in yourself, in a marriage, in a friendship, that's faith to me. It's not about going to worship one person or a thing. It is about living authentically. And my coming out story really has propelled this new career, which is actually the next part that I want to talk about, coming out again in life as a drag queen. So if we go to the next slide. Ooh, she's busted. So this is what I call my very first time in drag fully. And I remember these two are sitting in the audience right now. My mom called me in. She said, "Your grandma and I think you are the most beautiful woman." Looking back at this photo, it's questionable. First of all, flats, really? But when I came out as a drag queen and started doing the thing that I wanted to do, and that's being there for people who didn't have somebody, to be there, to hold a child's hand and say, it's going to be okay. You're different. You're unique. You're your own person. That's what matters. So as a drag queen, that's my mission in life, is to push forward and really propel love and compassion to everybody. If we go to the next slide. Oh, that's normal. I made that. This is at like 1 a.m. I made this presentation. I was like, oh, here we go. We got to go. My goals is not only to be there for the next generation, but also to be there for a community like Northfield, to bring inclusivity and awareness and self-acceptance to rural towns is what I'm all about. And because I grew up in a small town, that's my passion. We as drag performers, who we'll talk about my best friend back there, Lexi, here in a second, but we like to go to small towns. I think the smallest town we performed in was actually Elizabeth. Yeah, she's nodding back there. She's like, you better get this right. You better get this right, is what she's doing right now. And it was Elizabeth, Minnesota. And I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It is like a town of 500 people. And we walked in, tall heels. Okay, mine were lower than yours. I know. Don't look at me like that. But we walked in with our heels and our wigs, and we had our head held high because we had a mission. And our mission is to love everybody, no matter what, and give them faith that it will be okay. So if you want, we'll go to the next slide. This is my family. This is my group. This is a cast of well-rounded love, compassion, and empathy group. And without them, I wouldn't be here. It's amazing. There's also, not only is this my chosen family, but there are actual family members in this. I have a cousin who is one of my good friends, and she helps produce shows, and she's been there for me. I have my best friend Katie, who's actually in this back row back there. Hi, Cookie. She was there when I came out in high school. She looked at me and she said, I love you. That's all that matters. You're my best friend. And you still are. You're stuck with me. Thelma and Louise, here we go. The rest of the cast are all very unique people, individually beautiful souls. Not only is this cast beautiful inside and out, but they're beautiful to communities. They go into these communities and work and show people that they can have faith that it's going to be a brighter and better tomorrow. The one at the bottom there, her name is Stacy, to the very bottom right. She taught Sunday school with me. She has been my best friend since 4th grade. We were on the swim team. We did everything together. And when I was talking about cutting ties with something, me and her cut ties. After high school, we dropped off. We lost each other. And it was through drag and coming out as a drag queen that I was brought back to my best friend and a huge support in my life. And I think there is a power, entity that pulls us to the people that we need the most. And Stacy is one of them. Not only Stacy, but also Lexi. I have known Lexi for a long time, longer than she'll let me admit. But I could talk to her for 4 hours on the phone and never get bored, because she is the biggest cheerleader, other than mom and my husband and my grandma and my grandpa. She is a big support in my life as a drag performer. And she has the same mission that I do by going in and helping smaller communities and making them feel a faith, a community of love and compassion and empathy. And above all else, we need to have kindness in the world. And there isn't enough right now, and that's our mission, is to have kindness for others. So that's my drag family. If we go to the next slide, we're going to talk about this guy. And he's probably going to get mad at me because he doesn't like to cry, and he's probably going to cry right now. I met my husband, babe, how long ago? 10 years. We're going on a decade. And have we struggled? Yeah. Have we had a lot of fun? Oh, yeah. But he and I met. We met online, actually. And it was right from the get-go. I knew something special about him. And growing up, I didn't think I was ever going to find love because I didn't have enough love in myself. I didn't have the compassion for myself. But when I met Ryan, my life changed. I can't look at you because I'm going to cry. I figured. Oh, there's a bird out the window. You should look at that. But Ryan, not only did he save me as Craig, but he's also saved me as Moxie. He has given me the Moxie to be better and to keep doing this, my mission. He's there organizing. He's loading up my car last night and making sure I didn't get attacked by a protester. You know, he's right there with me in the front line, and he is my best friend, and he's perfect. He's perfect. And without my husband, I wouldn't be here. And with coming out and really honing in who you are and finding love, that's what coming out is. And everybody has a different story, but this was my story to tell. So that's my husband, and that's my story of coming out. I'd like to go to the next slide. These are words that I live by every day. It took me a long time to figure out these words. But over the last 3 to 5 years, ever since I became a drag queen, it has finally risen and given me guidance with these 4 words. And those words are empathy, to have empathy to thy neighbor, to give to them and be there for them in a community, to care about those that are younger than you and those that are older than you that don't know what you mean or understand you. You have to care about them so that they can start to care about you. And love. Without love, life's not worth living. And whether that's with a spouse or a marriage or a best friend, love is needed to have a fulfilled life. And the last word that I have for you today is kindness. It doesn't matter your walk of life, whether you grew up redneck hillbilly on a country farm, milking cows, showing rabbits at the fair, or strutting your stuff down a runway as a drag performer, as a frontline person, to show compassion and empathy in the world. You have to have kindness. That's my coming out story. Thank you.
That is a tough act to follow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing so personally, so deeply. Thank you for your kindness. I don't know how to break it to you, but I think you might be a budding Unitarian. Just give that a... You're welcome anytime. Please rise in body or spirit as we sing together, "We Would Be One," hymn 318 in your gray hymnals and as shown on the screens. Our closing words are adapted from those by Claire McBeath and Tim Presswood. May the presence that created a world of diversity and vibrancy go with us as we embrace life in all its fullness. May the guidance that teaches us to care for strangers and foreigners go with us as we try to be good neighbors to our communities. May the Spirit who breaks down our barriers and celebrates our community go with us as we find the courage to create a place of welcome for all. As we prepare for our closing hymn, you may place your hands over your heart. You can reach out to hold the hands of those next to you, or whatever you're comfortable with. Let us join together in singing our closing hymn, Spirit of Life. The words are shown on the screens. Please join me as we extinguish our chalice as printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Go in peace.